Editor's note: Bola Bolawole, a political analyst, says he would have loved to pick Donald Trump, President of the United States, as his Man of the Year. He, however, explains why this is not possible. Bolawole, turnpot@gmail.com. Ben examines governors in Nigeria and their activities to come up with one who he calls his Man of the Year. Disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed here are those of the author and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of legit.ng. Your own opinion articles are welcome at info@corp.legit.ng. Drop an email telling us what you want to write about and why. More details in legit.ng's step-by-step guide for guest contributors. Contact us if you have any feedback, suggestions, complaints or compliments. We are also available on Twitter. If I were to choose my Man of the Year 2019 from abroad, it would unmistakably have been U.S. President Donald Trump. His many advertised shenanigans notwithstanding, Trump's advocacy for the rights of Christians in an age where Christians, surprisingly and ironically, have become endangered species even in a world where many of the world power nations profess Christianity, stands him tall, and he has been the guardian angel and saving grace for Christians in many parts of the world, Nigeria inclusive. The American president might have been the nightmare of minority groups in the United States, with the Latinos and Africans especially in the eye of the storm. His targets are the lawbreakers, and I think every right-thinking person should have no problem with that. Why flee your own country, shithole, rather than stay back and fight to develop it? Others developed the country you are all running to pick dollars in the streets and enjoy the good life. If many greener pasture-seeking immigrants are allowed to have their way, breaking the law serially and compromising everything in sight, the El Dorado of today will soon come to grief. But charity, they say, begins from home. Burna Boy and Rima's songs make Obama's list of favorite tracks in 2019. I searched the East. Gov. Syria K. Dixon stood at the threshold. Had he been able to pull off the stunt of producing a successor in the recent Bielsa governorship election, it might have meant that his two-term tenure was adjudged a blessing to Bielsans, who now deemed it fit to reward him with a third term, in electing the candidate of his choice. But Dixon failed woefully. Before the election, everyone knew Dixon would lose if he failed to mend fences with ex-President Goodluck Jonathan. Jonathan here references the ex-president as metaphor for all elders and party members that a garrulous and pompous Dixon reportedly sidelined and insulted. A tree does not make a forest is the saying of the elders. Dixon failed to learn from the mistakes of the PDP in Ekiti, where his colleague there also operated like a tree makes up a forest. As in Ekiti, Dixon's shenanigans provided the excuse for the massive rigging that won the election for the APC. When a brash and self-opinionated fellow elbows everyone and stands akimbo in a political space where he ought to have been surrounded and supported by a coterie of juggernauts and caterpillars, his fall is a matter of course. Respect the elders. A tree does not make a forest. Not in time of peace, and even more so not in time of war, which our elections have become under the APC, Gen. Muhammadu Buhari regime. Stop begging for undeserved place in history. Apologize to Nigerians now. PDP blasts Buhari. Bolawole described Governor Makinde as the Man of the Year among his colleagues in the country. Source: UGC. Were we to make a Man of Infamy for year 2019 award, we would have found a lot of worthy winners in Kogi State. The governorship election there, held same day as Bielsa's, was an inimitable theater of the absurd. Yahaya Bello leads the field of those who qualify for an award in infamy. The two contenders for the Kogi West senatorial elections, when you factor in their antecedents, also eminently qualify for an award in infamy. Kaduna State's Governor Nasir El-Rufai, who knelt publicly to beg Kogitas to forgive the many shenanigans of Yahaya Bello, qualifies for the infamy award. And General Buhari, who, seeing all the atrocities perpetrated in both Bielsa and Kogi, still fawned over the APC victory, deserves Man of the Year 2019 Infamy Award. It is no longer a question of how history will judge Gen Buhari, RTD. The jury is in already on the dictator. Vox Populi, Vox Dei, Opinion, Ty Danchuma's appalling musings by Philip Agbese. In 2019 the FG deepened our misery, those who closed the borders it seemed but went to Egypt to open it to serve parochial interests, those who swore only a miracle will solve our power problems, those who allowed inflation and unemployment their meteoric rise, and those who made us a laughingstock in the comedy of nations. They only came to their senses after Uncle Sam wielded the big stick. The Ninth National Assembly, everyone admits, is the rubber stamp of the executive. The judiciary appears worse, tied hands and legs. Its asinine and caricature of a leadership is at the lowest ebb ever. Gov. Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State is yet to settle down into his seat. They may not be as loud as Buhari's condemnation of PDP, Jonathan, but the Sanwo-Olu people blame ex-Gov. Akinwun Mbode for their woes. They said Mbode left an empty treasury. But time and tides wait for no man, especially when the rumors are all over the place that Sanwo-Olu might do only one term. So, if he spends too much time settling down, when will he begin the job proper? Speed Darlington campaigns to be Nigeria's president in 2023 at Zlatan Ibeal's concert video, Ekiti State's Gov. Kayode Femi has had Fulani herdsmen sequester a portion of his territory. Some say Femi's voice is muted because he would not be seen biting the fingers that fed him. How he won election last year, his critics aver, was not behind the back of Miyetti Allah or their sponsors and backers. Rebuttals from the State Commissioner for Information were at variance with interviews by prominent Ekiti citizens on the matter. No one leaves fire on his rooftop and goes to bed. Only a Nero fiddles while his home burns. The act of infamy of Fulani terrorists poking their fingers in Femi's eyes has become a recurring decimal, making the governor the butt of cruel jokes. Hello, Gov. Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State. Except the recent release of his list of commissioners that elicited demonstrations and recriminations, not much has been heard of him. I don't envy Gov. Asiaka Oyetola of Osun State, the liabilities his predecessor, Rofareg Besla, left for him in terms of indebtedness, if you push them into the sea will have difficulties washing them away. A long-standing comrade that I affectionately call KK recently offered me the advisory never to mention Governor Rotimi Akeredolu's name at Igbara Oki. You will not come out of it alive. They will lynch you. That's how notorious the governor's reputation is with a section of his constituency. Buhari at 77, please tell Baba we're with him all the way, by Femi Adesina Ado is spoiling. Godfather and godson have parted ways. The only governance taking place there is that of how the governor would outwit the ex-governor, who also happens to be the APC national chairman. In Kwara, Bikola Saraki's Tira appears to have caught the governor who has abandoned governance who enter into it rofo with the ex-Senate president. Before he knows it, first term will be over and the governor will have nothing to show the electorate to merit re-election. A wise man puts his head down first and works and chalks up achievements, after which he can settle personal scores. A second-term governor like Gandu Dollar in Kano can try that with Sanusi and think of getting away with it, but not a first-term governor like the man in Kwara. I then zeroed in on Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State. He is fresh. He is young. He is different. His style of governance gives rays of hope. He also has substance. He has a heart. Many men and women of power in today's Nigeria are heartless. Makinde has passion for the job. Many political leaders only have passion for their pocket. Makinde is one leader the people will freely follow, not because of any inducements but because his populist and people-oriented policies resonate with the people. He is trying to toe the line of a top-performer governor like Lateef Jakande, who rode in his personal car and lived in his own house throughout his tenure as Lagos governor. Smoke and fire, who is afraid of Alan Onyema? Opinion, I will follow Makinde closely. I am minded to hold his feet to the fire. If you have recently traveled around the country, you will easily puncture the lie that the Southwest is ahead of the others. Propaganda spreading like wild Australian fires in the Harmattan. Lies. Fairy tales. Tales by the moonlight. Since 1999 at least, we have fallen on hard times in the Southwest. The leadership we have had has been corrupt and inept. We now lag behind other regions in infrastructure and in economic development. We live only on past glory. I understand Makinde has made mistakes. Don't bite more than you can chew. Don't put too many irons in the fire. That was the fatal error Ragbesala made in Osun. And don't be Mr. Know-it-all. Don't run too far ahead of the people. Don't be too much in a hurry. The people must always see your rear light. And always remember Jethro's advice to Moses, you cannot do it all alone. No one is the sole repository of knowledge, wisdom and understanding. Finally, be mindful of your template. Once the people around you discover your weak points, many will exploit to their own selfish advantage. If you decide to call him Major General, he wasn't dashed the rank, he earned it. Femi Adesina reacts to trending newspaper editorial. Pay attention, install our latest app for Android, read best news on Nigeria's Seyi Makinde, my Man of the Year 2019. On this note also I wish my readers a year 2020 filled with hope, vision, power and vitality to break up fallow grounds and record uncommon breakthroughs and successes. Rise and shine in the face of adversities. Rule in the midst of your enemies. naij.com, naija.ng, legit.ng. We have upgraded to serve you better. 2023 election. Why a Northerner should be president again. Shedima, Legit TV. Let's block ads. Why?